as the season winds down, more and more eyes are on Alabama, specifically the way they play under Coach Nate Oats. So I wanted to actually, go a little bit more in depth than my previous stuff on YouTube. I have a lot of in depth stuff on my Twitter about the Alabama offense. So this is pretty much the offense that Coach Nate Oats runs is like a modern dribble-drive-motion offense with that analytical NBA lens, where instead of in the dribble-drive-motion, it was like threes, love twos. But in Alabama, it's kind of reversed. Like the Houston Rockets with James Harden and Mike D'Antoni. It's love three, like twos. And here's a good example of it. So I want you to go back to the beginning one more time. And there's really only some quick hitting actions involved in sets besides like a 5-out spread, pick and roll. But there are dribble drive principles. Here's the pitch, single away to the pitch back, quick slip. So I'm going to show you what I mean by they like the 2 but love the 3. So Herbert Jones, player of the year, pause it right here. So there are 4 defenders near the ball. Well, actually, no, all 5. But I'm going to go for a split second more. While he jumps, what do you see? Well, the Maryland defender does actually a great job of putting his hands up and staying vertical so he doesn't foul. So if Jones was looking at the basket, he could easily shoot a floater or a layup. I mean, he has the length. He could, or draw a foul. He could attack the rim. But notice how he just started to take off, but there are no eyes of his whatsoever on the basket because they're trained to look for the open 3, which he has right here. So it's a kick out, it's a miss, but this is the first possession I want to get you guys thinking of, okay, what do they mean by love the 3, like the 2? As in literally, they will not look at the basket at certain times because the thought of a kick out 3 is always the top of mind. So with that being said, let's go to a couple more possessions in the Maryland game and really dive deep into the next possession here. Going to go into the spacing in the half court, which is really imperative in this possession. So let's let it run where you see it's a dribble kick out spot up 3, which is their most common way of scoring. But it's really the spacing that makes it. Now, Javon Quinterly, in my studies of Alabama, does probably the best job of dribble penetration. But one thing I want to notice here is, I'm going to pause it right before. So, yeah, let's look at that. Actually, let's go back a little bit because I want to really hone in. All right, let's look at the spacing here. So this is the equivalent of like a triple gap in dribble drive terminology. But notice they have a player pretty much equivalent to where the block is on the three-point line. You have that high wing spot over here. Then you have a player in the dunker spot as well as one going to the strong side corner for that 4-out, 1-in spacing with the dunker spot occupied. Now Maryland has the right idea. However, it's well known that when Alabama practices, they have that 4-point line. And one of the reasons is not only just for spacing, but also Nate Oats wants his players to be able to step into their shots since they have the green light. So it's really the fact of the understanding the spacing, but also knowing that the confidence to step in from 3, which caused this to work. So let's get this to play. So notice how the Maryland defender, the high on the elbow side, weak elbow, he stunts, and he has to stunt because the low man can't step up because that frees up a lob or a dunk for the dunker spot. And then the corner 3, obviously, as you know, is the most efficient 3 in all of basketball. So that by process of elimination leaves this defender right here. Only issue is he has to stunt pretty far out because of where Quinterly started, which is on purpose. So great teaching of spacing by the coaching staff. Then he has to recover way too long. And remember, Alabama has the green light to shoot from far out. So this is what I mean by the 4-point line for spacing. Catch it, step in, and by the time he's already in motion, he's already dipped. So he just has to go up and elevate. It's too late. Not enough time for the defender. So in this possession, it's really about spacing. Can't say enough good things about Coach Nate Oats and also Quinterly for knowing to get even or actually really below the free throw line extended to start this attack because the defense will have too much space to cover. So it's banking on attacking the gaps in between defenders, making the defender pick their poison, then having players that are able to shoot from deep. Great possession, great emphasis of the offense. Earlier, we talked about Alabama, creating dribble penetration, having the defense make a decision, then reading and reacting from there. But sometimes, the defense will define the play or the result for Alabama. So here I'm going to pause it. It's Quinterly once again. Alabama takes time in sometimes isolating a mismatch they think they can have where they'll have a player, the 4 teammates stand around and one player, break down a defender and drive and see how the defense reacts. So here, the issue is clearly Maryland doesn't have faith in their teammate who's guarding Quinterly because you have the closest help already literally at the nail. Now, Quinterly, he's not he'll pass the ball. He's not like a gunner by any means. So he quickly does a quick breakdown. And really after one step, he goes, wait a minute, Maryland, you've already told me what I need. You've already, there's no decision that needs to be made here. It's pretty simple. I got the 4-point line spacing by the stretch big for Alabama. You clearly thought I was going to break down your teammate. So Quinterly just quick hesitation, plants hard. The defense even bites even more and spot up 3. So like I said, it's sometimes teams can get in their own head where they go, okay, we don't want to have to react on the drive, so we'll go get ahead of ourselves. But they don't realize that because of Alabama's spacing and how good they are at shooting from deep, that sometimes they actually make it even easier than if they just reacted from the dribble drive. Let's end with some transition, because after all, Alabama is one of the fastest teams in tempo in the entire country. So I'm going to go in transition. Once again, Quinterly seems to, I thought he had a great game. Dribble drive, kick out for 3, but I wanted to keep on mentioning how this is a dribble drive motion inspired offense. So in the dribble drive, one facet is after the dribble breakdown. So here, Quinterly here, you have the next closest player in the slot would ride the wave, as some coaches call it, where they would kind of shadow and follow whoever's penetrating with the ball in their path. And the idea of that was that the dribble drive would suck in another defender, so if they want to do a quick kickback or they want to penetrate and then turn around and kick back, there's room for an open shot, which is exactly what you see here. So once again, it's dribble drive concepts, but we love the 3, like the 2, but love the 3, once I said, even more. And just a great textbook game, really, for their offense, especially after INO was a tough one. Thought Alabama did a great job, and curious to see how they do in the Sweet 16.